now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message that we would like to send to you.
Histórias da Lua. Especial Missões Apollo.
Well, I was the designated photographer as well as the flight engineer on the flight, so I had to divide my time by making sure the spacecraft was working and going through a very full photo schedule. And so that had me very busy back there, changing fill, changing f-stops, setting up cameras, etc.
What kind of a platform is the Apollo spacecraft for a photographic platform?
The Apollo was the best platform that happened to be behind the moon at that time, by far. But it wasn't a great photographic platform. The cameras did shoot out the windows. They were obscured a little bit by the haze on the film. Jim Lovell was running a camera through the navigation, looking at the moon through a soda straw. It wasn't a great platform, but this was the first time humankind had been behind the moon, so it came back with some pretty spectacular photos.
Well, I've asked Borman and Lovell this question. I'll ask you too. There's a famous photograph, an Earthrise photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who took that photograph?
Well, that has been researched, and I think almost everybody now will admit that I happened to take the photograph that was replicated on the stamp. Frank, we found out recently, took the first Earthrise, but it was in black and white. And I happened to take the first Earthrise in color, and that's the one that has been of significance. So I guess we can both share the glory. Lovell has jokingly said that in order to break the tie, he was going to claim he took the first picture.
What did you think when you saw that Earthrise? I know you took a photograph of it, but it must have been beyond the test pilot attitude or the pilot attitude, emotionally, human. What threw you?
To see the Earth come up over this very stark, battered, almost boring lunar horizon. And we'd been in Earth orbit for 3 orbits, and for some reason had not seen the Earth. We were going backwards, we were upside down. We'd been trained to look at the moon. We hadn't been trained to look back at the Earth, even though as we had gone to the moon, we could see the Earth, and it was amazingly beautiful. But to see it contrasted by this stark lunar horizon, the only color that we could see in the whole universe, in my mind, was very impressive.
And God called the late day.
From a distance.
Yeah, we were, when we first looked at the moon, and of course we burned into Earth, or into lunar orbit, and we didn't see anything at first, and then we rolled the spacecraft around, and then all of a sudden down below us there was the lunar surface, the backside, only about 60 miles down. And you know, I've often said we were like 3 school kids looking into a candy store window. Our noses were pressed against the glass. We forgot the flight plan. You know, we're just watching those ancient old craters whistle on by, because we were the first 3 people alive to see alive the backside of the moon. We had some pictures of it from unmanned spacecraft, and so it was, you know, probably the high point of my space career was to see the far side of the moon.
How would you describe it?
Well, we described it and tried it in many ways while we were up there. I said it was like plaster of Paris. I think Frank or Bill said it was like beach sand, but it's all shades of gray, no color. That's what most impressed me. And again, when you go outside and look at a full moon when it's up in the sky and not along the horizon, you'll see that it's exactly the same color. It's all shades of gray. There's no color to it whatsoever. And it's, you know, it brings one to mind how old the moon really is. I mean, you see ancient old craters, crater upon crater, where one crater got you know, wiped out by another crater by another crater. So it was it's an amazing sight. Something that's sort of awe-inspiring, but sort of forbidden.
God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place.
I never had the romantic desire to walk on the moon. I wouldn't have been in the program just to go pick up rocks on the moon. And I think that a lot of people have misinterpreted the space race and the enthusiasm of that day with the space race of today. You can't sell this program in the way that it was sold in the 60s today, because people just aren't that excited about exploration. They were sure excited about beating the Russians. The Americans don't like to come in second in anything. Now the mandate's gone. And to try to artificially say it's there by stunts, there were hundreds, thousands of people that dedicated everything to this to make certain that we won. Now, you can't get that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of a dedication out of exploration or out of picking up rocks. You got it because it was a political battle in the Cold War. It was a nationalistic impulse, and it's great. And I don't think we have it today, and it's too bad. Well, that was when we were told that we would have the largest audience that ever listened to a human voice when we made our TV broadcast from the moon on Christmas Eve. And the only instructions that we got from NASA, do something appropriate, which to me was a wonderful reaffirmation of what this country is all about. So we wrote out some letters and asked people, and because I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to take the time to worry about that when we had so much else. And Cy Borgen, who was a friend of ours with the U.S. Information Agency, suggested, how about reading from Genesis? And he had consulted with one of his friends.
We close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth.
Dê uma força ao AstrosNuTube ao subscrever o canal e dar um gosto no vídeo.